I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it. Biggie.
And then the other thing in the article that I raised, which I have a problem with Big, was we still, as a community, as a business, as a culture, as hip-hop people, need to sort of reconcile the really, really bothersome, dangerous, overtly violent and misogynistic lyrics that Big put on Life and Death. He talks about domestic violence to, essentially child rape is mentioned on Life After Death. I'm just not okay with canonizing that artist without at least some sort of conversation. My other criticism of Big, which I've gotten, I don't want to say gotten into trouble, that has gotten sort of significant pushback over the years, is that I believe that conversations claiming that he may be the greatest of all time are really just without the empirical merit. He really has 2 albums to serve as his body of work, several features and cameos, not mixtapes, promo tapes. It's really not a lot. Now, I will grant you that Life After Death was a double album, so if you want to argue that he has 3 albums, unfair to say that. It's fine to say, okay, you got 2, maybe 3, you could be in a conversation. But the reality is that as time has moved on, there's just not really enough of his stuff, I think, that would measure him up against the people that are normally discussed, whether it be Jay-Z, Tupac, even, and even to some Eminem, which I disagree with the last 2 pretty vociferously. But really why Big should be put in the Hall of Fame, or could be arguing the greatest of all time, or argue against myself, is the Life After Death, the second album. His fingerprints are on the entire culture that album was made for, is essentially how every hip-hop album is made now. Is that it was, in many ways, it's really Puff's influence on it, I believe, is that it's an album made to satisfy a marketing plan. Beautifully did it. I'm not saying he was like a slave to the record label, but the idea was to make money, to have crossover appeal, to hit markets, to broaden Big's appeal and therefore New York hip-hop's appeal in different regions. So what you'd never seen before, was records for different regions, which would use tempos, producers, slang, subject matter, collaborations to appeal to the multiple trends going on in hip-hop.